You know, I love in life when odd coincidences happen. They seem to add a certain spice to normally mundane times. Well, recently, my buddy Gil and I were checking out a new area where a farm field butts up to a lazy little creek. We were there only a short time, and I had to wonder if Gil's subconscious mind was somehow being touched by a Native American brave who had once walked the very same ground only several thousand years into the past. Gil picked up a disc-shaped stone and tossed it, rolling it on its side, or edge, across the hard-packed, cracked mud. It's very dry out there where we're at. And I walked over and I picked it up and recognized it right away. And I asked Gil if he was sure that he wanted to add it, that he did not want to add it to his collection, because he was just tossing it aside. And he confirmed he didn't want it, so I put it in my camera bag. Moments later, Gil picked up another slightly smaller disc and sent it rolling towards me, like the first. Once again, I picked it up, recognized what it was, so I dropped it in my camera bag again, and then I explained. What my buddy had picked up were Native American game stones for a game known as Chunkey. The first specimen measures about 4 inches across and has a groove all the way across the one surface, the flattest surface. And the second specimen measures about 3 inches across, and it has no particular markings on it other than a wear pattern by how it was shaped into a circular disc. Now, the game of Chunkey is believed to have been played first about 600 CE in the area of the Great Cahokia, America's super city whose population was unequaled anywhere in the world at that point in time. The game of Chunkey spread far and wide across the Americas, and a version was played in Mexico by the Aztecs. The rules were fairly simple. It was played with a 9-foot-long spear and a disc-shaped stone such as those that were found by Gil that I'm showing you. And the spears were thrown or tossed, and whichever came closest to the disc when it stopped rolling was awarded a single point. Now, it is believed that gambling was associated with the game, and the loser often forfeited all of his possessions to the winner, so it was a game of considerable consequence in playing, and it was a respected game. The game varied regionally, and I wondered how it was played right where Gil and I were standing. How many players were there, and how many spectators? The great painter of the American West, George Catlin, in 1832, witnessed a Chunkey game being played by the Mandan tribes. Following is Mr. Catlin's report. He wrote, "The game of Chunkey is a beautiful athletic exercise which the Mandans seem to almost unceasingly practice for while the weather is fair and nothing else at the moment demands their attention. This game is decidedly their favorite amusement and is played near the village on a hardened clay surface. The play commences with two, one from each party, who start off upon a trot abreast of each other, and one of them rolls in advance of them a little ring 2 to 3 inches in diameter, cut out of a stone, and each one follows it up with his chunky stick, which has projecting from its sides an inch of the spear, was endeavoring to place it in such a position when it stops that the ring may fall upon it and receive one of the little projections of leather that run through the spear," end quote. And I would, the game varied greatly across the Americas, so it's difficult to imagine how it might have been played here in Saginaw, Michigan, along the banks of this little creek. The standard, if you would, chunky stone was did not have a hole all the way through it as described in the Mandan game, but they did have various types of not ornamentation, but they'd have they would be hollowed out some. They were different, I guess, depending upon where you were in what would be North America. So anyways, as I was saying, the game varied across the Americas. Now, it was likely here on the banks of that little creek, it is likely there would have been a small group of players, and it was a spectator sport, so the family of the players most likely would be there cheering on their player. And as I said, it being a spectator sport, not only did family of the players come, but there had been gathered as well visitors from neighboring villages. They were great contests, not unlike, in a much smaller way, baseball, football, basketball, or any of the contests that we watch today are so interesting to us. So that's what chunky stones are, and I've showed you the chunky stones that Gil found. I have a couple of others in my collection that I found several years ago out in the same general location. So I hope you enjoyed this little look at a game that was very, very popular in what was ancient America. Thank you for stopping by. I always enjoy being able to spend a few moments with you. I love each and every one of you on the other side of that monitor. God bless you and keep you. And I will see you real soon, God willing.